What is going on, everyone? Platinum Bees coming at you with yet another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at an article from Seeking Alpha titled Platinum Momentum Gaining Strength. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, everyone, so pretty interesting article we're going to take a look at today, and we're going to just dive right on into it. So the summary of this article talks a lot about platinum buying patterns continue to look quite robust in March 2021. I've been saying this for a little while now. Aberdeen Platinum is the main choice for brokerage accounts wanting exposure. That's the ETF that is backed by Platinum that is kind of pushed by this article, so you can take a look at that if you'd like. It says here, this year's supply-demand balance is increasingly tilted toward platinum bulls, and higher pricing seems logical from a relative undervaluation setting in the precious metal complex. So we're just going to go ahead and dive into what this article says. It says here, talks about how this individual has been adding to their platinum holdings through PPLT. That's the Aberdeen Standard Physical Platinum ETF that I mentioned above. And it describes here that platinum represents this individual's fifth largest portfolio position out of roughly 40 holdings. So that's pretty high on the list of important parts of this individual's portfolio. Right here, we're going to talk a bit about how mentioned in previous 2019 articles, platinum is far and away from the cheapest of the precious metals based on lagging price gains for over a decade. If it were discounted at a 50-year normal relative levels versus sister metal palladium plus gold and silver, this truly rare resource found in the Earth's crust would be priced between $2,000 and $3,000 an ounce today, not $1,200. And it talks about how below this paragraph, there is a decade-long graph of performance from the leading platinum ETF and the Aberdeen physical platinum or physical palladium product measured against the gold GLD and the silver trust SLV. So we're going to take a look at this little graph here, and as you can see, we've got platinum in purple, which is at the bottom, silver in green, which is at almost the bottom, gold or GLD, which is in the blue, and then palladium is way up here. So this chart kind of shows how platinum is still the lowest of the four main precious metals groups. And so it's still a really good time, and it's still the most undervalued, in my opinion. Now, this is just a graph showing kind of the overall outcome of these three ETFs, but it's a good picture for us to look at when deciding on what precious metal to invest in. Platinum is still the best play as of yet. Even with the spot increase to around $1,200 as of late, platinum is still the top dog. Now, it talks a bit right here about the Russia flood news. So recently, the mines in Russia were flooded, and it says here that several days ago, Norilsk Nickel announced flooding issues inside several of its mines, which would slash platinum group production levels dramatically below the previous guidance for 2021. So it looks like we're going to hit even more deficit with the delays that are placed upon this recent news that Russian mines have been flooded. Now, news coming out of Russia, I don't know exactly how much we can depend on it, but it is something to keep in mind. Palladium immediately spiked higher out of a 6-month basing pattern on the news and could still have an upside, and the existing metal shortfall in supply globally gets worse. If the existing metal shortfall in supply globally gets any worse. So I made a video a little while ago about how palladium spiked, and a lot of the reason for that was the flooding of the mines in Russia, causing a bunch of kind of fear around the price and the overall availability of palladium to be used in its necessary industrial aspect. So As you can see here, it kind of shows the palladium chart moving quite up drastically. And when we get down here to this paragraph, it talks more about platinum supply / demand balance. A platinum supply surplus faded in 2018, moved to a small deficit in 2019, and has now morphed into an important shortfall during 2020 to 2021. So again, I've talked a lot about how deficit is not really meeting up with demand. There's much more demand than there is a deficit, and that could in turn increase the overall price of platinum. It says right here in this part, at this stage of limited inventory, any additional supply issues or the appearance of meaningful growth in investor demand as a currency hedge could propel a huge price advance in coming years. And I really think that one aspect that it kind of describes right here as growth in investor demand as a currency hedge. A lot of people don't look at platinum in the same light as they do gold and silver. They look at it a lot differently, and a lot of people don't really like platinum or really believe in platinum. But in my own opinion, and if you look at the mintage numbers of the Platinum Eagles, you can see demand is growing exponentially on the investor side. You know, the mint might go from minting a few boxes of monster boxes of Eagles each year to a few thousand monster boxes of Eagles in platinum form, right? And so because the mintage continues to go up year by year, 2018, 2019, 2020, and I'm guaranteed 2021 will outdo 2020's year for minting the Platinum American Eagle. So that could in turn propel a huge price advance in coming years. So if you get in now, there's a potential for you to increase in your overall value of your overall stack going forward. I recently just released a video talking about how it's important to gauge your purchases, and this goes along very well with that, right? If you buy now a little bit, you don't have to put your full money into platinum right now, because it for sure is going to take off. Lots of things can change in a short amount of time, but investor demand doesn't seem like it's going to slow down anytime soon. And so it talks here about how, according to the World Platinum Investment Council, 2021 was projected to be the third year straight of mine production deficit before the Norilsk announcement. In its 2020 quarter 4 recap, the Platinum Council reported a sizable deficit of 170,000 ounces for the last 3 months of the year. And looking forward, the group's assessment for 2021 was for mine production versus industrial investor demand to run at a forecasted deficit of 60 KOZ. So if all other variables remain the same, the unexpected 20% drop in Russian output gets platinum to an annual deficit closer to 200,000 ounces. That is a lot, to as high as 300,000 if the flooding problem is underestimated. Such a result could generate the lowest above-ground stocks to usage level in many decades. And boy, would that create panic. And I really think that if this does really end up happening the way it does, and the mines end up running into more and more issues, we could see some people who never bought platinum before jump on board, right? You know, there's a lot of people that have been holding out, and it's kind of like, if you really think about it, it's kind of like a lot of other recent time investments, right? You got Tesla, you got, Amazon, you got Bitcoin, you got all these investments that have just skyrocketed in price, and people are still jumping on the bandwagon today, even at high prices. Now, I'm not a crypto investor by any means, but Bitcoin is somewhere around $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 per Bitcoin, and there's still people buying it today, which to me personally seems kind of crazy. But, I'm not saying they're not going to make money. Bitcoin's just not for me. It might be for them, but they are still buying it. They're jumping on board because they think it's going to go to the moon. And I think a lot of people take that approach. They see stuff going way, way, way up, and they're like, oh, it's not going to stop. I don't really know why that's the usual mindset for people, but that is the way it works. So if platinum were to skyrocket, we could see people potentially buying more platinum. And as a side note, I've seen a lot of sales for palladium go on the private markets a lot back and forth, a lot more than I did in previous years. I bought my Palladium Ballerina at spot, and that's probably because no one wanted it, right? But I ended up making a decent little chunk of change off of it, and I'm still up today, and nowadays people want Palladium more, it seems. So we could see the same thing happen to platinum, where more people are jumping on board, increasing the overall price. As you can see here, it kind of shows a chart of mine production and use, and for platinum and palladium. Of course, we know Russia is a big miner of the palladium and platinum metals, as well as South Africa down here, and North America is probably the highest user of the metals because we just have so many people and so many emission standards and so many things that revolve around cleanliness, I suppose. So that's an interesting chart to look at for sure. Down here, we can see that it says best estimates place the current above ground, easy to find inventory of platinum at half the level of 1993. Below is a chart taken from 2018 Mini GMX article highlighting shrinking inventories in 2015 stored in warehouse vaults on exchanges and through ETFs like the Aberdeen Platinum product. So as you can see here, we've got the above ground platinum estimates, easy to find inventory mapped out, and we've got Europe down here, we've got China floating down here, we've got North America. So as you can see, this is overall really availability of easy to find inventory, right? So we started here at 1993 and all of them were in the tens of thousands, and year by year, 95, 97, 99, so on, all the way up to 2015, we're getting very, very low on the chart. As you can see, we have gone from the top being around 45,000 KOZ down to around 30,000 KOZ, and it doesn't really look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. This is 93 to 2015. That's an entire 23 years of slowly decreasing. And, you know, they say electric cars are going to replace catalytic converters and things like that, but I mean, I don't see that happening at quite this rate, if you catch my drift, right? 45,000 KOZ to 30,000 KOZ, that's almost a 50% reduction in 23 years. In 23 years, will we see half as many gas-powered cars to half as many electric cars? Maybe, but in 23 years, we're going to probably go from 30,000, who knows, down to maybe 15,000 KOZ. So it's going to, the value is going to hold at the absolute very least throughout that transition. And in my opinion, we need to be keeping an eye on future potential uses for platinum. The metal is too unique to just let it become worthless, right? It has too many unique properties, and it probably will find some new homes in the future that we haven't even discovered yet. So we get down here into this paragraph. It says technical momentum. If you haven't been paying attention to the precious metals market since the summer peak in gold, platinum has turned in some stellar performance in the last 6 to 9 months. In fact, it has been leading the entire complex of safe haven monetary metals by a wide margin. Below are some charts of the relative strength in platinum versus palladium, gold and silver over the 3 months and 6 months. These two time periods hold the best predictive power generally from my research over the decades. So as we can see here, we have the platinum ETF that is moving in this fashion. We have palladium, which has gone directly up in very recent times. That is pretty crazy to see. And then we've seen silver kind of fluctuate here, and then gold, surprisingly, has come down. Now this chart goes from about, it's pretty much this year, 2021, right? This is the 2021 chart basically from the beginning of 2021 to now, and we've seen platinum go way up, and it's floating right here around $1,200 spot at the recording of this video, and palladium shot up within the last week, but gold has kind of just stood still / maybe even dipped a little bit, and silver has really kind of floated around $25, $26, $27 an ounce. And as we can see here, it's a similar kind of chart, similar kind of pattern. And this chart goes all the way back to, I'm guessing, around October or September of 2020. And again, we were sitting here as far as the precious metals, and platinum took off, and palladium was where it has been for a little while, and gold the same thing, and silver the same thing. So take these charts as you will, guys. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I say that all the time, but I want to make sure that everyone knows that, and they should do their own research. I will be linking this link in the description below, so be sure to check it out on your own time. But discussing this chart a little bit more, it says the individual chart pattern and momentum indicators have been strong the past year in the Aberdeen Platinum ETF, and this bullish picture continues to score as a top 5% selection versus other equities and ETFs in the U.S. stock market using my proprietary technical formulas. Below is an 18-month chart of daily price and volume changes. Notice the price remains above its upslopping 50-day and 200-day moving averages. Also, the long-term trends and accumulation distribution line, negative volume index, and on-balance volume indicators are far superior to the same momentum figures being outlined by competing precious metal ETFs. So, a bunch of interesting charts in this article, guys. Definitely check it out if you get the time to. And down here, it discusses final thoughts. Unlike many gold and silver ETFs that represent more paper ownership of physical metal, lacking fully audited and segregated bullion, the Aberdeen Standard Physical Platinum creation actually owns bullion in vaults to back up your purchase. So that's an interesting thing. If you were looking at getting into precious metals mining stocks or stocks revolving around precious metals, it seems as though this might be a solid pick because it's actually backed by actual metal. Unlike a lot of the gold and silver ETFs that are just paper contracts. So as we can kind of get down into here, we can see that right down here in one of the final paragraphs, it says, what could go wrong? Specifically, the worst case scenario for platinum price involves a deflationary spiral that hikes the value of the US dollar. Nevertheless, early 2021 appears to be the exact opposite economic backdrop with record money printing by the Federal Reserve. The M1 money stock is up astonishing plus 70% YOY and a steadily declining dollar exchange rate the past year. My forecast calls for an even larger drop in the dollar during 2021 versus 2020. Over the past 12 months, the US dollar index has declined better than 10%. I am modeling a 20% or greater devaluation in our local currency this year as life gets back to normal when coronavirus changes and fades, and foreigners decide holding safe haven dollar assets is no longer desirable. So that's what I have for you today, guys. Definitely an interesting article to look at. Definitely a lot of interesting topics hit on in this specific article. Be sure to give it a check out if you so desire. Again, I will be linking this article in the description of this video down below for your viewing pleasure. As always, guys, I appreciate y'all stopping by and checking out my video. Be sure to check out my other videos that talk a lot about platinum as well as other precious metals. Thank you to all my loyal followers. Thank you to any new people to the channel. Welcome. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, guys, we will see ya.